The sins of the empath, the listener. Many people are poor listeners. It takes concentration and effort to listen for a sustained period of time. Many people lack the discipline and rigor that is required to be such a person. Their minds wander. They are busy thinking about what they want to say, the point which they wish to make, or even wondering what they are going to have for dinner. Staying on point with regard to what somebody is saying takes focus and effort. Being a good listener is one of the traits which belongs to the empathic group of people. You are blessed with the ability to sit and exhibit considerable patience as you allow somebody to talk to you. At its simplest, you allow a person to tell you all about their plans for decorating their house. Such a topic may be regarded as mundane, but not to those from the empathic group. You take an interest in what you are told, and this combines with your preparedness to allow others to have their say. Your stance is that if the subject matter is important to that person, then it is important to you as well. You will not trivialize the commentary, regard the conversation as banal, or consign the observations from the speaker into the file in your mind marked trivial. It is not the case that you will necessarily sit like some wallflower as this person talks, but you are able to regulate your responses so you do not interrupt them. Instead, you coax people to share, not so you can elicit information to use against them, but rather to aid your own understanding with a view to being able to respond in a more effective and helpful manner. Your capacity to listen is not confined to allowing somebody to tell you what they think of the latest Tom Cruise film or how their Greek island hopping holiday panned out. Your listening skill finds its forte when you engage in listening to people talk about their hopes, their concerns, their problems, and what is causing them anguish and anxiety. You are skilled in adopting a pose which allows that person to offload about anything and everything to you. You deploy silent visual cues which demonstrate that you are paying attention and that you are processing what you are being told in order, at the appropriate time, to provide valuable feedback, observation, and insight. This segues into the fact that not only are you a brilliant listener, but you also know when to speak and when to remain silent. You will not interject unnecessarily, but instead you will be able to gauge when you should speak. You can hold on to information, flag a point, and store it, assimilating the stream of facts and opinions that are being spewed in your direction, until there is an apt moment for you to respond. Your empathic nature as a whole combines with this ability to listen, to create a safe environment wherein the speaker feels able to trust you. He or she almost has a compulsion in your presence to want to confess, spill their guts, confide, and explain. You generate an environment whereby the speaker knows they can tell you what is on their mind, and that you will not be judgmental. They feel assured in your presence, confident that not only are they being listened to, but they are being heard. Indeed, the skill of being a good listener as an empathic person is the antithesis of our kind. We generally are poor listeners, save when we identify the need, and only then it is because we have seen that there is a benefit which can be accrued from listening intently. More usually, the lesser will find that his chaotic thoughts appear in a haphazard fashion, and he has to release his comments as if he does not do so, he might be poisoned by keeping the toxic works inside. This means that his thoughts are all about what he is saying, about to say, and he is not listening to you. The mid-ranger appears to be listening. He can at least create the image, but he is not. He is too concerned to ensure that what he has to say will be listened to and responded to. When you are speaking, he is not listening to what you have to say. He finds your words are getting in the way, and, like all of our kind, all he hears is the fuel element of what is being said. If you are shouting about how annoyed you are with him, he is not hearing the content, but is rather enjoying the fuel being provided and thinking about what might next be said to keep this flow of fuel going. As for the greater, he is contemptible of what you have to say. How can anything you say be of interest to him unless it is about him and it is providing fuel? You may find with our kind that you realize you are repeating yourself as you see that we appear to be somewhere else. Furthermore, there will be instances where we will deny that you have told us something, and our denial is adamant. You know that you have told us something, and at the time we responded, confirming what you had told us. Yet, here we are now, denying that you told us what time to meet up or where to go in order to collect a parcel. Of course, there will be times where we have heard you and we deny what you say in order to maintain control and frustrate you, usually the preserve of the behaviour of graters. But on many occasions, the lesser or mid-range narcissist will actually not remember what was said, and the denial is based on their genuine belief you have not told us something, because they were not listening and absorbing what was being said, because they had no interest in what you were saying at that time. They may have been considering what they wanted to say, who else they wanted to speak to, what they were going to do next, and many other factors, which all result in a complete failure to absorb what you have said. Accordingly, the denial, and a strenuous one at that, arises at a later time. Your ability to be a great listener means that you also expect others to listen, to return the same courtesy to you. This is not to state that you are demanding and haughty about being listened to. Far from it. You are content to allow others to speak for longer and more often than you. You do, however, expect that when you do speak, you will be listened to, and our repeated failure to do this becomes a repeated source of frustration and upset for you. The fact of being an excellent listener becomes your sin because we treat you like the sounding board, save we are not interested in hearing anything back from you. The mid-range of our kind, and especially the greater, revel in the imposition of lengthy monologues, where we espouse our views, often stolen from listening to others, for the purposes of ensuring you bask in our brilliant rhetoric. Speeches will be made from our armchairs as if we were delivering the Gettysburg Address. You will listen because that is what you do, and we seize on your capacity to listen and then listen some more as a captive and appreciative audience. Your smile, your occasional nods and wide-eyed appreciation when we deign to look at you are confirmation of our standing and our effective grandstanding. You are expected to listen to us as we dominate the table at a dinner party and nod with enthusiasm, make appreciative noises and be supportive. And you will do so because, as the excellent listener, you feel that is only right. You are expected to laugh at the anecdote which you have told 100 times before, and you will dutifully do so. You believe that it is fair and right to allow us our stage, and we exploit that willingness on your part to the full. Your sins manifest through allowing us to rant at you. You believe we are entitled to say our piece, no matter how vociferously, and you will not interrupt, even though we can see the fear and hurt in your eyes. Your capacity for listening means that you will be regularly exposed to our vitriolic words and compelled to hear them, listen them out, and respond, even though all we want is your fuel by way of response. You will become frustrated, even though you try to hide it, at our failure to listen to you, our lack of interest in your opinion, and the way we interrupt you and talk over you. We want you listening, attentive and admiring. We want you listening, hanging on our words as we berate you. You have a deep sense of obligation to do so, feeling that we may finally make some valid point, tell you something that provides a breakthrough, and gives a moment of clarity through this long-winded spiel. It never comes. It is a waterfall of words as we talk about ourselves, talk about our brilliance, greater, woes, mid-ranger, or anger, lesser. This cascading oratory and your obligation to listen begins to take its toll as you are worn down by our selfishness, our narrow-mindedness, and the savageness of our comments when they are directed at you. Some suggest that to speak is to sin. In the world of the empath, listening is worse.